investing in cryptocurrency. Wow. It unlocks such incredible possibilities, doesn't it?
It really does.
That whole vision of, truly decentralized finance, cutting-edge tech, digital ownership that's actually yours,
Mm-hmm.
it feels like a brand new frontier opening up.
Absolutely.
But, and this is the big but, right? As exciting as that frontier is, there's a pretty stark reality. If you don't really nail the essentials of security,
Mm-hmm.
you risk losing everything. Like everything.
It's a sobering thought.
And that's a fear I hear a lot, a very real, often kind of unspoken fear for so many people. It doesn't matter if they're just starting or if they've been around crypto for ages.
Yeah.
It honestly can feel like you're navigating this digital Wild West.
Huge opportunity, yeah. But also unexpected dangers lurking.
It's exactly that duality, that mix of potential and risk that we need to get a handle on. The potential for innovation and real financial autonomy is massive. But the vulnerabilities are just as big if we don't approach security with, diligence and knowledge.
So today, we're really diving deep into an incredibly comprehensive resource. It's a guide by DatzCrypto called Cryptocurrency Security Essentials. Protect your digital assets.
Sounds good.
And our mission is pretty straightforward, really. We want to distill the most vital bits of wisdom from this guide.
The nuggets.
Exactly, the nuggets. To help you safeguard your investments effectively, right from day one. And crucially, without feeling totally overwhelmed by all the tech talk.
Yeah, because it can get overwhelming fast.
We'll cut through the jargon, give you concrete, actionable steps. Things you can actually do.
And we've really got a treasure trove of insights for this deep dive, haven't we? We're drawing from detailed timelines, really in-depth study guides, audio briefings, even visual slides.
Yeah, it's quite the collection.
It's designed to be your ultimate shortcut, basically, to get you properly well-informed on this absolutely critical topic.
Mm-hmm.
Think of us as your expert guides, helping you dig up the really important stuff that often gets buried under layers and layers of complexity.
And our aim here is to talk directly to anyone who's ever found themselves thinking, okay, great, but how do I actually keep my crypto safe?
Which is probably everyone listening.
Pretty much, whether you're a complete newbie who just made your very first crypto purchase, or maybe you're someone looking to beef up your security practices for a growing portfolio.
Yeah.
We're going to cover the absolute foundational elements, the things that empower you.
Yeah.
The goal is just to provide that clarity, that confidence, so you can participate in this amazing transformative space securely. Make sure your journey is about empowerment, not constant anxiety.
Empowerment, not anxiety. I like that. Okay, let's get into it. All right, let's peel back that first layer then. So you've just bought some crypto, maybe some Bitcoin, perhaps a little Ethereum, or I don't know, some Solana. Where does it land?
Right.
Almost always, it goes straight into your account on one of those big centralized exchanges, right? Like Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, places like that.
Yep, the usual suspects.
And it feels super simple. You log in, you see your balance, you think, great, it's there, I own it.
Seems straightforward.
But here's where we hit maybe the first big and honestly kind of unsettling revelation for a lot of newcomers, the sources we looked at. They are crystal clear. While these exchanges are convenient for buying, they are fundamentally an unsafe default for holding your crypto long term.
That's such a crucial distinction to make right off the bat. What's fundamentally different about these exchange wallets, you often hear them called custodial wallets, is who holds the keys.
Okay, the keys.
The exchange keeps control of your private keys. You don't actually hold them yourself.
Right, so I don't have the code, basically.
Exactly. You don't possess that direct cryptographic signature that truly represents ownership on the actual blockchain. You're essentially just trusting a third party, the exchange, with your digital assets, which immediately brings up a pretty profound question. If you don't hold the keys, do you really own the crypto? In the true spirit of decentralization. And maybe more practically, what happens if that exchange runs into serious trouble? Maybe goes offline for maintenance, or worse, way worse, it gets hacked.
And this isn't just theoretical worrying, is it? Our sources actually point out that things like site downtime, major hacks, or even exchanges suddenly freezing withdrawals, well, it happens more than you think.
It really does. It's a documented risk.
Just imagine for a second if your normal bank suddenly decided to just shut its doors indefinitely, or its vault got breached, and there was no clear, immediate way for you to get your life savings out.
Yeah, terrifying.
That feeling of losing access to your own money, being totally at the mercy of some third party, that's a very real possibility here. You've basically outsourced your security and control.
Which, as you said, kind of runs counter to the whole point of crypto, right? That idea of self-sovereignty being your own bank.
Exactly. It's a fundamental paradox for so many people who get into this space.
Precisely. And if you connect this back to the sort of philosophical underpinning of crypto, the whole innovation was meant to remove the need for trusted middlemen.
Right. Cut out the middleman.
Yet, by keeping significant amounts of your crypto on an exchange, you're basically putting that central point of failure right back into the system, that single entity risk.
Ah, okay. I see that now.
So while it offers, unparalleled convenience for getting into the market, making quick trades for anyone holding long term, it's a huge trade-off. You're trading fundamental security and autonomy for just ease of access.
And the guide says that's generally a bad trade.
The consensus from the guide is clear.
Uh-huh.
The trade-off is almost always a disadvantage for anything beyond, very short-term trading.
Okay. So, for you listening, the clear, unambiguous takeaway from our deep dive today is this. Exchange wallets. Absolutely fine for the initial purchase. Fine for active day trading if that's your thing, where you need speed and liquidity. But they are not the place for long-term storage. If you're accumulating crypto, building that digital fortune for the future, it needs to move off the exchange.
That's step one. Take control.
Step one. Okay. So moving up a big step on the security ladder, we hit what are called software wallets or hot wallets.
Right.
These are things like apps you download onto your phone or computer, or maybe browser extensions like MetaMask is a really common one, Trust Wallet, Exodus. There are loads.
Right.
And the immediate shift here is pretty empowering, right? You finally get direct control over your private keys.
Yes, that's the key difference.
The exchange isn't holding them anymore. They actually live on your device, which feels like a massive leap forward in autonomy.
It does.
Plus, they're usually free, which makes them super accessible for anyone just starting to explore the world beyond those centralized exchanges.
That control is definitely a crucial step, both psychologically and practically.
Yeah.
You've gone from trusting a third party with your keys to managing them yourself. Big step.
Yeah.
However, the hot wallet is a really critical word.
Okay, why hot?
It means these wallets are constantly connected to the internet.
Always online.
Always online. And while that offers amazing convenience for quick transactions, interacting with DeFi apps, dApps, it inherently carries a higher risk profile.
Because it's online.
Exactly. The vulnerability shifts from the exchange to your own device. If your phone or your computer gets compromised, maybe malware, a virus, a clever phishing attack, your funds could be directly at risk.
Oof.
Okay, so it raises this really important question for every user.
Yeah.
How do you balance that undeniable convenience of instant access with the built-in security risks of being perpetually online?
The analogy that keeps coming up for me here, and our sources echo this, is thinking of a hot wallet, like, the physical wallet you carry in your pocket every day.
Yeah, good analogy.
It's super convenient for grabbing coffee, everyday stuff, maybe a few bucks, your cards. You need that instant access.
Right.
But you would never, ever carry your entire life savings around in that pocket wallet, would you?
Definitely not. The risk is just way too high.
Our guide explicitly says hot wallets are ideal for quick access and active use, especially for smaller amounts, or for specific things like using decentralized exchanges, messing with NFTs. If you're frequently interacting with the wider crypto world, a hot wallet is like an invaluable tool, but it is unequivocally not the secure vault for your long-term investments.
That idea of proportionality, matching the risk to the value held, is a really powerful way to think about it.
Yeah.
For smaller amounts, frequent transactions, maybe the convenience-risk balance favors a hot wallet. But as your digital assets grow, as your portfolio starts holding significant value,
Right.
the potential for catastrophic loss from a hacked device becomes a much, much bigger concern.
Makes sense.
And that shift in value really demands a corresponding upgrade in your security setup. It highlights the need for something that takes away that main attack vector, being online.
Which brings us neatly to the undisputed heavyweights, the digital Fort Knox, if you will, of crypto storage. Hardware wallets, often called cold storage.
Yes, the gold standard.
We're talking about actual physical devices here. Usually look like a sleek USB stick, made by reputable companies like Ledger, the Ledger Nano S Plus or Nano X or Trezor.
Those are the main players.
And these devices are built for one single, absolutely vital job: keeping your private keys, those ultimate signatures of ownership, completely offline.
This is where you get truly robust cryptographic security as an individual investor. The really profound insight here is how they work. The private keys are generated and securely stored inside the device itself.
Inside the little USB thing.
Inside the device. They never touch your internet-connected computer or phone, ever.
Wow, okay.
And that offline isolation is precisely what makes them virtually impervious to almost all online hacking attempts, malware, phishing scams, you name it.
Because they're just not connected.
Exactly. When you want to make a transaction, the hardware wallet processes and signs it internally without ever exposing your private key to the dangerous online world.
How does that work then?
You typically confirm the transaction directly on the device's little screen. You often have to press a physical button.
Oh.
That adds another layer of verification that you just don't get with hot wallets. The whole design inherently minimizes the attack surface. It gets rid of the main way hackers try to get in. It's a totally different security paradigm.
The guide consistently positions hardware wallets as the most secure option available for the average person, period.
No question.
And this isn't just about convenience, it's about rock-solid, verifiable security. That physical nature, combined with the offline key storage, it creates this almost impenetrable barrier against remote attacks. You unlock the device with a PN, and like you said, you confirm the crucial details, like the recipient address, the amount directly on its screen. That stops those man-in-the-middle attacks where a hacker tries to secretly change the transaction details.
That's that physical check.
Yeah, there's a small cost up front, maybe 50 to 150 bucks, something like that.
In that range, yeah.
But for any serious investor or anyone planning to hold crypto long-term, that's honestly a tiny investment for unparalleled peace of mind. It really is like having a digital, high-security safety deposit box for your most valuable digital stuff.
And I go further. For anyone whose crypto holdings are becoming a significant part of their wealth, or anyone planning to hold for years, a hardware wallet isn't just a strong recommendation. It's basically a necessity.
Right.
It embodies that whole promise of self-custody security.
Right.
It lets you truly be your own bank without the systemic risks of exchanges or the constant online exposure of software wallets.
It's the ultimate tool.
For asserting genuine ownership and protecting against the most sophisticated threats, yes.
Okay, so we've carefully walked through where your crypto lives. From those convenient but risky exchange wallets to the more controlled but still online hot wallets, and finally, the gold standard, offline hardware wallets. But no matter where you choose to store your assets, there's one fundamental, absolutely irreplaceable element that holds the ultimate power over your digital fortune.
Ah, yes. The core of it all.
Your private keys and seed phrases. This isn't just part of crypto security. It is the absolute non-negotiable core. Let's really drill down into this. The bedrock of crypto security. Your private keys and seed phrases.
The essentials.
Imagine your crypto wallet less like a bank account, more like a super high security safe that only you own.
Good.
Your private key. That's the unique cryptographically generated combination to open that safe. It's this complex string of letters and numbers, a totally unique digital signature. It mathematically proves you own the stuff inside and lets you authorize any transaction from that wallet.
Your signature.
Your ultimate authority. And here's the golden rule, like etched in stone. You should never, under any circumstances, share it with anyone, ever.
Never, ever. And then you have the seed phrase, often called your master key or maybe your ultimate recovery tool.
Right, the list of words.
Exactly. And what's truly profound about this seemingly simple list of usually 12 or 24 common English words is its incredible power. This phrase is basically a human-readable version of a huge number. And from that number, all your private keys for that wallet can be automatically regenerated.
Ah, okay, so it rebuilds everything.
Everything. It means if your hardware wallet breaks, or your software wallet gets corrupted, or you lose the device completely, that seed phrase is the single piece of information that can regenerate your entire wallet.
Wow.
Restoring access to all your crypto associated with it. It's the backup of all backups. The one single point of recovery for your whole portfolio in that wallet.
Okay, that's huge power.
Immense power, which immediately raises the most critical question in crypto security.
Right.
Given its absolute authority, how on earth do we protect this seed phrase? Protect it from both accidentally losing it and from someone maliciously stealing it.
And let's be super clear here. This isn't like forgetting your Gmail password and just hitting forgot password on a website.
Not even close.
There is no customer service hotline for lost crypto. The sources are incredibly stark, unambiguous about this. It really bears repeating with absolute clarity. Losing your private key or your seed phrase means your crypto is gone forever.
Poof.
Poof! Vanished into the digital ether. There's no password reset function, no central authority you can call, no way to plead your case and get it back. It is absolute, irreversible, final loss. The decentralized blockchain network, just by its design, doesn't care who you are. It only recognizes the cryptographic proof of ownership from holding the right keys.
Right. Math doesn't lie.
If you lose access, your funds are mathematically, technologically inaccessible,
Huh.
forever orphaned on the blockchain.
And that irreversible nature, it's not a bug. It's actually a core feature, a fundamental principle of true decentralization.
Right, that's the point.
Unlike traditional finance, where banks act as custodians and can step in, reset passwords, recover accounts, the blockchain just works on pure cryptographic proof.
Just the keys.
Just the keys, which means total self-sovereignty, yes, but also total personal accountability. If you lose your key or phrase, your funds are locked, inaccessible to anyone, including you.
So that phrase in the guide, proper storage from day one.
It's not a suggestion. It's a non-negotiable imperative because, like you said, there really isn't a second chance.
Okay, so monumental responsibility. How do you keep this ultimate backup, this seed phrase, safe? The guide gives really clear, practical advice, and it leans heavily into old-school methods for a good reason. Resilience.
Analog is good here.
The most recommended approach. Simple. Go analog. Pen and paper are your best friends.
Good old pen and paper.
Write it down, clearly, legibly, in your neatest handwriting. Then, you need to treat that piece of paper like it's literally solid gold, because it represents the total value of your digital assets.
Yeah.
You want to store this somewhere physical that protects against common disasters. Think a waterproof and fireproof safe. These aren't just like nice ideas. They are critical foundational steps to protect against physical stuff, fire, flood that could otherwise wipe out your access permanently.
In building on that, the durability of whatever you write it on is super important. The recommendation for a metal backup plate. That's incredibly insightful.
Metal plate, like etching it?
Yeah, etching or stamping it onto metal. Unlike paper, which obviously can burn, tear, get wet, degrade, a metal plate offers amazing resistance to fire, water, general decay.
Okay, much tougher.
It's about building layers of physical resilience into your backup strategy. The guide also mentions potentially splitting your seed phrase, storing parts in 2 separate trusted physical locations.
Splitting it up.
But, and this is absolutely crucial to stress, this method introduces its own complexities and potential problems.
Sounds risky.
It's generally seen as an advanced strategy, only for users who really understand the risks involved in fragmenting such vital information. Any mistake here, or if even one part gets compromised, you could still lose everything.
Yikes. Okay, maybe stick to the basics for most people.
For most, absolutely.
Yeah.
It just shows the multi-layered thinking about security, though, moving beyond just convenience to true long-term resilience against all sorts of threats.
Okay. Now let's talk about the do-nots. And these are just as critical, maybe even more critical than the do's. These are the common mistakes that lead to absolute disaster.
Big no-nos.
Resist every single urge you might have to screenshot your seed phrase. Just don't.
You don't.
Do not save it digitally. Not in your phone's photo album, not in a text file on your computer, not in Google Docs, Dropbox, any cloud service.
Nowhere digital.
Don't even think about texting it or emailing it to yourself for safekeeping. Your digital footprint is this huge, often invisible vulnerability.
Massive vulnerability.
Any digital copy, no matter how briefly it exists, just massively increases the risk of it being compromised. And this final one, maybe the single most important rule of all. Never, ever share your seed phrase with anyone. And I mean anyone, especially not someone claiming to be support for your wallet or an exchange. Etch that into your brain.
This point just hammers home the core security principle for all digital assets.
Yeah.
Always assume digital storage can be hacked. Always.
Assume compromise.
Assume compromise. Your feed phrase, if it's exposed digitally in any form, even just momentarily on your clipboard or in that screenshot you thought was clever, it becomes instantly vulnerable. Sophisticated attackers are constantly scanning for exactly these kinds of slip-ups.
Wow.
And your emphasis on never sharing it, especially with support, that is the absolute singular, most vital takeaway in this entire security discussion.
Right.
There's simply no legitimate scenario where a real project, a real support team, any reputable wallet provider will ever ask for your seed phrase. Anyone who does, under any excuse,
Well, of course.
unequivocally a scammer.
100%.
That rule is your ultimate unbreakable shield.
You know, it's interesting. It's not just about following the technical steps meticulously, is it? It's about cultivating a whole security mindset.
It's a way of thinking.
The guide really pushes this. It talks about constantly balancing security with accessibility, understanding those trade-offs between hot and cold wallets, for example.
Right.
It advises operating with that guiding principle. Any digital storage can be hacked, fostering a healthy skepticism towards online stuff.
Healthy paranoia, almost.
Kinda. And then it gets into critical, often overlooked things, like thinking about who might access your digital assets after you're gone.
Digital estate planning.
Yeah, making sure your loved ones can actually get to your funds if something happens to you. That's a very real and honestly often neglected part of crypto security. It needs proactive thought.
It truly raises that important, comprehensive question. Are you prepared for all contingencies, both technical and personal? The advice in the guide to test the recovery process once you know after you've set up your cold storage and backed up your seed phrase. That is profoundly insightful and practical advice.
Test it. Like, pretend you lost the wallet.
Exactly. Wipe the device, or use a spare one, and try restoring it using only your backed up seed phrase. It's like checking your fire extinguisher before there's a fire, or doing a fire drill so everyone knows the escape route.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Verifies your backup actually works.
It bridges that crucial gap between just knowing the theory and having practical preparedness. Knowing for sure that you can successfully restore your wallet from your securely stored seed phrase. That provides immense confidence and peace of mind.
Yeah, I can see that.
It also confirms your chosen physical storage method. The paper, the metal plate, the safe is actually functional and legible. This whole security mindset, as you called it, goes way beyond just protecting against hacks. It's about preparing for everything, including life's unexpected turns.
Okay, so from this deep focus on personal security, protecting your own castle, defending those precious private keys, we now need to pivot a bit. We're shifting from defending your own stuff to navigating the treacherous, often wild world of external threats, the sneaky, ever-present crypto scams.
The minefield.
Exactly. Knowing how to protect your own assets is step one, but having that sharp ability to spot someone actively trying to steal them, that's just as vital. Maybe even more so in this fast-moving digital world. All right, let's stare these bad actors right in the face. First up on our list, the classic fake giveaways. You've almost certainly seen these, right?
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
Plastered all over social media, YouTube comments, Telegram groups, send one eats, get two back, or, big event. Send us 0.1 Bitcoin, we'll send you 1 Bitcoin back instantly.
The free money promise.
The allure is undeniable. Free money, fast returns. It sounds incredibly tempting. Almost too good to be true.
And that's exactly because it is too good to be true. Every single time. This type of scam preys directly on basic human greed, that desire for quick, easy gains. They're cleverly designed to just bypass your critical thinking, trigger an impulsive reaction. They exploit the excitement and often the lack of experience in the crypto space.
And the guide is totally clear on this.
Absolutely unambiguous. It says, quote, send 1 ETH, get 2 back is always a lie. And then no exceptions, full stop.
No exceptions, got it.
If you think about it, it's just a classic confidence trick. A really old scam, just, updated for the crypto era.
Right.
The clever part is, these scammers don't even need to hack your wallet or steal your keys. They just convince you through psychology to willingly send your funds straight to them.
Wow. Okay, watch out for those giveaways. Next up, phishing links.
These are nasty.
These are arguably some of the most sophisticated, most insidious traps out there. They're crafted with incredible detail to look exactly like the legitimate websites you use all the time.
Pixel-perfect copies.
A totally fake Coinbase login page, a seemingly real MetaMask wallet connection site, maybe even a clone of a popular DeFi platform you trust, but they are 100% fake. Their only goal is to steal your sensitive info, usernames, passwords, or worse, trick you into connecting your wallet and granting them permissions to drain it. They're like digital chameleons.
Exactly. They blend right in with trusted sites, making them incredibly hard to spot if you're not paying close attention or if you're just in a hurry.
So how do you defend against that?
This type of threat really highlights why you need constant vigilance, good digital literacy online. The advice is simple, but absolutely crucial. You always need to triple-check web addresses.
Triple check, okay.
And never ever click on unknown or suspicious links. Before you type any sensitive info into a form, or, critically, before you connect your wallet to any site. Scrutinize that URL, character by character.
I really look closely.
Is it Binance.com or Binance.com with an extra N? Is it MetaMask.io or MetaMask-wallet.xyz? A tiny difference, one misspelled letter, a weird domain ending. That can be the difference between staying safe and losing everything.
Wow. Requires discipline.
It demands a level of disciplined attention to detail that, honestly, is easy to overlook when we're clicking around quickly online.
Okay. And then there's the human side of scams, impersonators.
Right, the social engineering aspect.
This is where the deception gets really personal. Someone just slides into your DMs on Twitter, Telegram, whatever, pretending to be a super famous crypto investor, maybe Elon Musk even, or a well-known project founder, or maybe even worse, they pose as tech support for your crypto wallet or an exchange, offering to help you fix a problem you didn't even know you had.
Classic tactic.
They carefully build rapport, pretend to have authority, gain your trust, often playing on your worries or your desire for help, and only then, once they've laid that psychological groundwork, do they make their move to exploit you.
They are masters of social engineering.
Yeah.
They skillfully exploit our natural human tendencies to trust people, especially those who seem to be in positions of authority.
Right.
This just underscores how vital it is to independently verify identities and communication channels. Always.
How do you do that?
Legitimate support from real projects or exchanges. They will always have clear, official ways to contact them, usually listed on their official website. They will never initiate unsolicited DMs offering help or making wild promises of returns.
So if someone DMs me claiming to be support,
Your immediate action should be go to the official website or support page yourself, find their verified contact method, and initiate contact through that channel.
got it. Don't trust the DM.
Do not, under any circumstances, trust links, phone numbers, or contact info provided by the person who reached out unexpectedly. That independent verification step is your crucial defense against these really clever, psychologically driven attacks.
Okay, now listen. Listen very, very closely, everyone. This is the absolute non-negotiable, brightest, flashing neon sign red flag you will ever see in the world of crypto.
The ultimate red flag.
If anyone, anywhere, under any circumstances, could be a pop-up on your screen, could be a supposed tech support agent in a chat, could be a website asking you to connect your wallet, could be an email if anyone asks for your seed phrase.
It is 100% a scam.
Yeah.
Full stop.
100%.
No caveats, no exceptions, no gray areas. The massive importance of this single rule just cannot be overstated. It is your ultimate, unbreakable defense.
Why is it the ultimate target for scammers?
Because your seed phrase is the master key to your entire digital fortune. If they get it, they gain total, irreversible, instant access to everything in that wallet.
Bypasses everything else.
Bypasses all other security measures you might have. No legitimate entity, no real project, no honest support team, no reputable wallet or exchange will ever, ever, ever ask for your seed phrase.
Never.
Never. That information is for your eyes and your secure offline storage only. If anyone ever asks for it, that is an immediate, undeniable sign of a malicious attempt to steal your funds. Disengage immediately. Run away.
Got it. The point of no return for your security. Okay, so beyond just the absolutely crucial job of securing your assets from hackers and scams, there's another equally critical layer of security, isn't there? The security of your actual investment decisions.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, you could have the most bulletproof hardware wallet ever made, your seed phrase buried in a lead bunker, but if you're making impulsive, uninformed, or just plain bad choices about what crypto to put in that secure vault,
You're still at risk.
you're still fundamentally at risk, yeah. This is exactly where DYO, or do your own research, comes in.
The mantra.
It's not just some trendy crypto buzzword. It is your absolute shield against making bad investments, falling for hype, and basically losing your hard-earned money.
And the systematic way the guide suggests doing this research is really fascinating. It lays out this logical, almost pyramid-like structure for evaluating potential crypto investments.
A pyramid, how does that work?
Well, you start at the bottom, the foundation. You don't just jump into a project because it's trending on Twitter or some influencer is hyping it.
Right.
The very first step, the base of that pyramid, is meticulously checking out the team behind the project. The people. Who are they? What are their backgrounds, their track records? Are they public about who they are, or are they anonymous? What have they actually built or done successfully before?
Okay.
This is crucial because the strength and integrity of any project are just totally tied to the people building it. A strong, proven team. That's a significant way to reduce risk.
Makes sense. So after the team,
Then you climb up the pyramid to really scrutinize the technology itself. This is where you ask, what problem does this project actually solve?
does it have a point?
Exactly. Does it address a real need, or is it just tech looking for a problem? How does the underlying tech actually work? Is it genuinely innovative, or just a copycat? You need to really understand the fundamental utility of the coin or token. Is it actually usable? Does it have a real-world application, or is its value purely speculative, just driven by hype?
Good questions.
This deeper dive goes way beyond the marketing fluff to assess the actual value proposition and the long-term chances of survival.
Okay, team tech. What's next?
Then you move up to examine the community around the project. Is there a genuine, active, engaged community? Or is it mostly bots, paid promoters, and just empty hype?
How can you tell?
You check out the forums, social media, like Twitter, Telegram, Discord. Critically, look at developer activity. Are they actively building? Platforms like GitHub can show you that.
Okay. See if it's alive.
A vibrant, transparent, technically engaged community is often a really strong sign of a project's health, its potential longevity, its ability to grow organically.
Right.
And then finally, with all that research pulled together, the team, the tech, the community, then you evaluate the overall investment potential. It's basically fundamental analysis like in traditional finance, but adapted for the unique crypto landscape, asking the hard questions before you put your money in.
And the sources also give some good pointers on where to find reliable info, right? Because the crypto space is so noisy, full of opinions, misinformation.
Oh yeah, finding good sources is vital. They recommend starting with reputable, established news and analysis sites. Think CoinDesk, Decrypt, the defiant places that do actual reporting.
Okay.
For audio learners, podcasts like Bankless or Crypto 101 are great for digestible insights. And for digging into data, CoinGecko.com is invaluable for tracking prices, market info. Etherscan.io and similar block explorers for other chains let you look directly at the blockchain data.
Verify things yourself.
Exactly. And a huge heads up here, something the sources really stress. Avoid blindly following influencers who are just shouting about pumping coins or making crazy price predictions.
Boys.
Yeah. They often have significant hidden agendas, following their advice uncritically. That's a super fast way to lose money. You need critical discernment.
Definitely. Okay, so DYR is key. But the crypto world moves incredibly fast. It can feel like trying to drink from a fire hose, just information overload. You want to stay updated, know about market shifts, tech breakthroughs, regulations. But how do you do that strategically without just feeling completely overwhelmed? It's a real challenge.
It's a challenge that really brings up this important question of, like, information hygiene. How do you manage the flow?
Information hygiene, I like that.
Because that constant flood of news, price charts flipping around, endless social media chatter, it can lead to serious information overload. Or worse, analysis paralysis. You're so overwhelmed you can't decide anything.
Or you make rash decisions.
Or the opposite, yeah.
Yeah.
Emotional, reactive decisions. The guide offers some really practical tactics, though. Consider setting up specific Google alerts for coins or keywords you care about. Use feed readers like Feedly, or subscribe to a few high-quality curated Substack newsletters that filter out the noise.
Okay, filtering helps.
But the real gem of advice here, the one that directly tackles that feeling of drowning in data. It's profoundly simple, but so effective.
Yeah.
Pick 2 to 3 trusted voices and stick with those.
Just 2 or 3.
Yeah. Don't try to consume everything. Consciously curate your information intake. Find a small handful of reputable experts, analysts, or news outlets that consistently provide well-researched, unbiased insights. Make them your primary sources.
Okay, be selective.
This proactive filtering stops the relentless, often contradictory noise from just clouding your judgment. It helps you stay focused on what actually matters for your decisions. It's about quality over quantity in your information diet.
That's powerful. It shifts you from being passive, just getting bombarded, to being an active, discerning consumer.
Exactly. By applying that filter diligently, you can stay really well informed without falling prey to the anxiety, the stress, the impulsive behavior that often comes with an unfiltered info dump in a market like crypto.
Allows for more thoughtful, strategic moves.
Precisely.
Okay, finally, let's talk about maybe the most insidious, silent killer of crypto portfolios. FOMO.
FOMO, fear of missing out.
That gut-wrenching, overwhelming feeling that just washes over you when you see some coin, moon, its price just skyrockets. Hundreds, thousands of %, super fast.
Yeah, you see those green candles.
And you suddenly feel this irresistible, almost irrational urge to jump in, often right at the peak, even though deep down your rational brain is screaming, no.
Yeah.
You know you haven't done the research, you know it goes against your plan, but that fear of being left behind, missing the boat, it's just too powerful sometimes.
FOMO, at its core, is the absolute opposite of disciplined, rational investing. It's pure emotion taken over.
Yeah.
And what the guide highlights really clearly is how FOMO consistently leads people to buy high and sell low. The exact perfect recipe for losing money.
It's the worst strategy.
It just overrides careful analysis, systematic planning, long-term vision. This whole phenomenon really underscores that crucial psychological part of security. It goes way beyond just the tech stuff.
So your biggest threat isn't always a hacker.
Sometimes your biggest and most dangerous threat isn't an external hacker or some clever scammer. It's your own unchecked emotions, especially greed and fear, working against your own best interests.
So how do you fight FOMO? What's the counter strategy?
The advice is simple to say, but honestly, incredibly difficult to actually do consistently. Develop a clear plan and stick to it.
Have a plan. Stick to the plan.
Define your entry points, your exit points, before you invest. Learn to take profits strategically as things go up. Cultivate massive patience.
Patience is hard in crypto.
It is. But the market, as anyone who's been around knows, moves in cycles. Up, down, sideways, consolidating, exploding. Don't let a temporary dip or even a sudden crazy spike derail your carefully thought out long-term vision.
Zoom out.
Exactly. The guide explicitly says, teach others to zoom out, not freak out. It's about keeping that broader perspective, focusing on the long game, and just rigidly adhering to your strategy, even when everyone else is panicking or getting irrationally exuberant.
And that takes real self-awareness, doesn't it? Emotional control.
A level of self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and disciplined adherence to your plan that is often just profoundly underestimated in this super fast, super volatile crypto world.
Yeah.
Recognizing your own emotional triggers, those moments of fear or irrational excitement, and having a preset framework to deal with them. That's every bit as important as locking down your private keys on a hardware wallet or knowing how to spot a phishing link.
Wow.
It really is the final frontier of robust crypto security. Mastering your own mind and emotions when faced with market craziness and social pressure. #outro.
Wow. Okay, what a journey that was. We have truly taken a comprehensive deep dive into safeguarding your digital assets today. Covered a huge amount of ground.
We really did.
We started by, demystifying that crucial choice of wallet, understanding exactly why exchange wallets are just not right for long-term holding, recognizing the convenience, yes, but also the caution needed with hot wallets, and ultimately embracing that gold standard of security you get with cold storage, with hardware wallets.
Foundational stuff.
Then we move to the absolute sanctity of your private keys and seed phrases, hammering home that losing them means losing your funds forever, and detailing those critical do's and definite don'ts for keeping them safe offline.
Absolutely vital.
We then ventured into that treacherous landscape of crypto scams, equipping you, hopefully, to spot and dodge the most common traps. Those fake giveaways, the sneaky phishing links trying to steal your info, the clever impersonators using social engineering.
Yeah, stay vigilant.
And crucially, reinforcing that single undeniable red flag, any request, any at all, for your seed phrase.
The golden rule.
And finally, we talked about the foundational importance of doing your own research, breaking down that systematic way to evaluate projects, offering practical tips for staying informed without getting totally overwhelmed, and maybe most vital for your long-term financial health, confronting that powerful emotional enemy, FOMO. Stressing why you need a disciplined, patient investment strategy that looks beyond the short-term noise.
It all ties together.
It's definitely a lot of iteration, no doubt about it. But every single point we've covered today is actionable. You can do something about it.
That's the key.
The overarching theme, I think, that weaves through all of this is the profound importance of self-responsibility and rigorous critical thinking.
Taking ownership.
As we've seen, just knowing the stuff isn't enough. Knowledge is most valuable when it's understood and actually applied diligently.
Absolutely.
This deep dive, we hope, has armed you with the essential tools and, maybe more importantly, the mindset you need to navigate this dynamic crypto space with way more confidence, resilience, and security.
Ultimately, what our deep dive today really revealed is that in this fast-moving world of digital assets, your greatest security isn't just in the technology itself. It's equally, maybe even more so, in your own disciplined approach, your unwavering skepticism, and your commitment to keep learning.
Yeah.
Being proactive,
Yeah.
being meticulously cautious, staying consistently informed. Those are your most powerful defenses.
So as we wrap up this really essential deep dive, I want to leave you, our listener, with a direct question. Now that you're armed with all this comprehensive knowledge, what's one immediate, tangible step you can take, like today, to secure your digital assets even further?
Good question.
Maybe it's finally biting the bullet and ordering that hardware wallet we talked about. Or maybe it's simpler just taking the time right now after listening to properly write down and securely store your seed phrase in that fireproof safe.
Small steps make a big difference.
Remember, that journey to true digital wealth, to financial autonomy, it always begins with uncompromising security.